side-by-side comparison is what I'm hoping to do. Since it's a little breezy yet, I am going to fly the Sky Surfer first, and hopefully maybe the breeze will die down just a little more before sunset, and then we'll get a chance to fly the Flex. If you give me a second, I'm going to strap the camera to my chest, and you'll get the perspective taken from my chest. Okay, I think you ought to be able to see that. This is the Sky Surfer wing. I keep the strings in these little cardboard sleeves to help keep it from getting tangled when I transport it. We got the Sky Surfer there with the GoPro on the bottom. First thing we're going to do is set up the wing, and I guess you're going to get a chance to see how that sets up. And it's kind of nice. It's portable, maybe not, and maybe it's easier to take care of than the Flex wing as far as putting it in and out of the bag. But this has worked out pretty good for me, and I've been doing this same trick here for several years. So this isn't new to me. In fact, I've been flying the Sky Surfer since 2007. I normally set it up on a grassy knoll by the beach, but today for this flight I wanted this big open space for the Flex, so we can do you'll see me throw the Sky Surfer into the sky and see it fly away, and I'll make a couple passes and you'll get a glimpse at it. And then we'll swap out radios and paragliders, and we'll try the other one. See, this wing's already to blow around a little, and normally I wouldn't be here doing it like this. Like I said, I'm normally up on a grassy knoll out of the breeze, but here on Fiesta Island, it's very flat, and it's just a big sandbox, which I guess works good if you're worried about control. I'm not going to hurt anybody out here in a nice big open space. Okay, so the wing is configured here. Now what we do is I drag this plastic chassis over here. Throw that box. Guessing you can see this okay. Takes just a few seconds to hook up the lines. What's kind of nice also about the Sky Surfer is that it's adjustable for angle of attack. If it were particularly windy, you could make some adjustments to the angle of attack that you can also do now with the Flex. Maybe not quite as easy because you need pliers to bend a little clip. But so far so good. So the back line's attached. So the next one I do is the front lines. Go around a little bit. The lines are color-coded on the Sky Surfer so that the green ones are the front lines and the red ones are the aft lines. Really getting a lot of dirt on it up here. It's not too great, but okay. You can see I checked my lines here to see that they're not too tangled up and stuff. And then when the wind is blowing like this, I tend to set the wing down and set the chassis on the wing like that. Kind of holds it in position while I set up other things. So we're gonna go put those away. My sleeves. One sleeve. Yeah, where'd the other sleeve go? Okay, not missing one of those cardboard sleeves. I don't know what I did with it, but anyway, I guess we'll figure it out later. Okay, since this is the Sky Surfer, I got to get out the other radio. It's in here, in this pocket. Okay, for the Sky Surfer, I have my FLYpg set up. And if you notice, I've kind of done the same thing to the FLYpg, although this has nothing to do with the Sky Surfer. This right stick stays put. I remove the spring, and that all has to do with the Opale and the Flex. Okay, so here we go. Turn on the radio. Good power. It's set up for my Surfer, Sky Surfer. I'm going to grab the Sky Surfer. We'll do a few checks. Then we'll get ready to get some sky time. Okay, I got the camera velcroed in this box on the bottom, and I'm actually, I got a good camera strapped to my chest today, and a GoPro Hero 2 on the bottom of this thing. I'm gonna power it up just for the heck of it. Set to take pictures. Turn it on. Okay, the radio's on, camera's on, and now the power's on for the Sky Surfer. Got throttle, left and right. Okay, looks like we're good to go. So I kind of hold it out here upside down until I flip it around, and then I just let it go into the wind, and it usually goes pretty easy. Not a big task to get it into the air. So here we go, wish me some luck, and hopefully we'll get a good video out of this. So there it goes. You can see that that's pretty smooth. It's funny because at the ocean you don't hear it as much. It's a lot quieter because at the ocean there's more noise around. But I'll come by and make a pass right in front of myself here. You can see it's nice and stable after the turn. It just goes nice and straight. I mean, how great is that? I'll hold the stick up a little so you can see what I'm doing with the stick. But it's just very easy on the throttle. This is a little less than half throttle. At half throttle, it's usually climbing. You know, I'm not a stunt flyer. I just want things to go straight, a lot like this is doing. So that's what I really like about the Sky Surfer. Thing tracks nice and straight. So you can see, and the wind is blowing, you know, still maybe 3 knots. Not too bad. The flag is off in the distance. In fact, right below the Sky Surfer, there's a flag there. The Sky Surfer can climb pretty well too. Look, I'll get a little gas, and you'll see that it just heads up. You know, that still, throttle-wise, was just a little more than half. So it goes up pretty quick. And you know, that was into the wind. Okay, so now I'm going to bring it in. It's going to be a short flight because I'm going to bring it around, and I'm actually going to catch it in my hand for recovery, which is what I always do. So I'm going to head downwind, give it a little room beside this hill here as I turn towards myself. You can see as it goes downwind, it's going pretty good because the wind is actually blowing a bit. Here it comes, nice and easy. I'm kind of making some adjustments to get it directly downwind for myself, because then it goes slower. You can see I'm just waiting for it to get here. Not too tough, a little more gas maybe. And there it is. What's not to like about that? That's hard to beat. And there's no way right now I can do that with the Flex. But, you know, I'm working on it. Okay, so now I'm going to walk over here. I'm going to set this aside. We'll swap out radios and we'll throw the Flex in the air and see how it does in the same kind of conditions. And hopefully tonight this will be a good flight for the Flex too, because the wind is pretty great. It's a nice sunset. It was a clear day. I was so happy to see that. That bag in my pocket. We're kind of lined up here. Okay, everything looks like it's good. Like I said, radio, double check one more time, radio power's off, wing is loaded for down, all the other switches are off. We're going to power it up here. Hopefully things will go well. We'll be ready to fly in about 40 seconds or so. Okay, I'm going to give it a little throttle, see what happens. There we go. You notice the brake is set, so as soon as I power off, that shuts off. That's a real saver for the lines. If you can shut off the power and know that it's not going to spin, it really helps. I have yet to tangle any lines since, you know, year 1 or whatever. And the trick is to power off. So you can see, we're in flight. Right down here. Brakes on. In flight. Okay. Left, right. And we know we have power. So okay. So this is in my hand and ready to go. I'm going to Put this at about 3/4 is where I like it on the right stick. Throttle's off, but once I get it up in my hand, I may power it on to about half throttle, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it, if I'll have enough presence of mind to get it where I want it. This is kind of the way I like to see it before I launch. Notice the brake, because the brake's on, it's holding it on the ground. If it was too windy, it'll start rising up still. Maybe I could adjust it a little more, but I like that idea of the right stick keeping the brake on the ground. So as I get ready to go, you go to about 3/4 on the right stick. And now I'm ready to go with the throttle, and we're going to throw it in the air. Okay, there it goes. Nice and smooth. As I gave it a little more power, you saw that it wanted to turn to the right. That's pretty normal. And maybe there'd be a way to offset the motor to eliminate some of that. Okay, so it's actually a pretty good night for the Flex too, because it's flying pretty well. Come a little downwind to get a little closer. See it up there? So there you go, it's a nice night for the Flex. What's not to like at this point? It's also flying pretty well. Give it a little power, see it climb, and again, when I give it power, the trick is to give it a little left stick. It's climbing up now. There we go, we're up nice and high in a nice safe area. At least I think it's safe. You can see that it's not quite as stable. If I were hanging the camera on the bottom, it tends to swing a bit as it tracks across the sky. I'm just going to let it go there. You see that? It's sort of turning into the wind, a little swing. If you remember, that Sky Surfer, nice and straight. And I don't know if that's because it's a rectangular wing or, you know, more flat profile. See over my head. You see it up there. Looks good. In the sunset, looks pretty nice. We'll walk a little upwind here so we get it back downwind behind us, and you'll get to see it as it flies along the edge of the cliff. Okay, this is me, no throttle, no adjustment, no nothing. You can see what it's doing. It's sort of swinging. Let it actually drift downwind, and then we'll come back along the cliff here behind us so we get a up sun shot of the thing. It comes over my head. I'm not sure how well I'm keeping that framed. I got to keep my eye on it because you can see it's doing that swing thing, right? Not unmanageable, but it does it, and there's no denying it. And I think this videotape's going to prove what I'm looking for. You know, it's going to show that, you know, I've been dealing with a nice flat ride for a long time, and even the Opal Spiral does something similar. Maybe not quite as bad as this, but it does do the same kind of oscillate. Come back towards me here. Hopefully I'll turn in front of myself. You can see I can't exactly go where I want because a lot of it is trying to deal with the sway. Sure looks good up there though. Nothing, you know, it's well made. I have plowed this thing into the sand maybe a dozen times, and I'm kind of surprised that it's all still together and flying well. So it climbs good. This is actually pretty nice weather for it, I guess, because the wind is still blowing just maybe a nice 3 knots. It's a very smooth breeze. It's not gusty at all. So here we go. We're coming upwind. Man, actually going to put on a little brake here to slow it down some, even more. Brakes. That's it.